Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this.
Hi Jason, how are you today?
Yeah, very well. How are you feeling?
I'm good too, thank you. So what are we going to talk about today?
Welcome to Uncovered, guys. We are going to be focusing on enthusiasm, which is the key to the childlike enthusiasm that we may have lost in as we go through life. Like, it's that childlike want to express joy through what we do.
Mm-hmm. And how do we lose that?
Look, I think through life we get told we can't do something.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of times that we get told we can't do something, it feels like eventually we don't have that capacity or self-esteem to continue to do that anymore. And then on the flip side, a lot of parenting these days tell their kids you can do anything and everything is possible. So it's really, really interesting when you see a kid that's not going to be able to sing. You say, yeah, you can sing, and they really want to be a singer, but they can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's a real challenge to know how to do that well in an appropriate way when someone may not be able to do something, and you want to encourage your children to be able to do that. But what I'm talking about here is that adult part of us. When we're an adult, how do we have that enthusiasm for life? Mm-hmm. And how do we bring that sense of positive connection to what we want to do and how we want to do it? Now, enthusiasm's probably not my biggest forte, I don't think. I think I get really enthusiastic for others, but maybe not for myself. And there's probably a reason for that. I've looked at a lot of people who are overly enthusiastic, and I look at the fakeness that sits in those people. And those people where you go, hey, how you going? Nice to see you. So good to see you. Blah, 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 blah. And you're sitting there just going, can you just back off, please?
Yeah. Or even some people that do like online courses and stuff, they get like super excited and like enthusiastic, like, let's do this. And you know what? And you're just like, all right, calm down.
Yeah, and look, I'll tell you what I've noticed, especially with people in the academy. I've found that people who have joined my academy and they're the over enthusiastic type, the work that we do is quite deep. So they last for a very small period of time a lot of the time, simply because they realise that they've actually got to do the work, as opposed to pretend that everything is okay. So they get really, really enthusiastic, gung-ho, and this is the shiny object syndrome type person. They get really excited about something new, but then when they actually have to put some time into it, they burn out their steam, and then they're looking for something else that they can be really enthusiastic about. Mm-hmm. So it is a challenge to be able to stay enthusiastic about something for a really, really long period of time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So many times I've started things and felt really enthusiastic about it, and then just like it kind of gets lower and lower, and then eventually you just don't do it anymore because you don't feel as excited and that anymore as you did in the beginning. This is kind of changing now, but it can still sometimes be difficult, and I guess you kind of just gotta know that it's not always going to be fairies and butterflies, and also do it when it's hard and just create some habits around it. And
and I think if you're really good with your habits, then your enthusiasm can continue. Quite often it does wane through repetition. Mm-hmm. So enthusiasm is that want for newness too. So being a person who has done over 25, 30,000 sessions with people, I still get really excited and enthusiastic about the changes that I see someone making. Not necessarily me being excited and enthusiastic about something that I've done so many times. So it's sort of where it's placed, I guess. If you're the type of person that you personally need to be enthused by what you do, then you probably shouldn't do personal development and repeat things over and over again, because you're gonna have to go and spend a lot of time doing repetition. So it's like the Karate Kid and the teacher. The teacher repeats and repeats and repeats and is so enthusiastic about the students. So I'm learning karate at the moment, and my karate teacher has been he's a 6th Dan black belt. He's the highest Dan in the world for his type of black belt, type of karate. And you can see the enthusiasm that he has watching people, and he's still learning things, but the speed in which he learns things is minimal compared to someone like me who has no idea what I'm doing, and I'm learning how to do moves and do stuff that he's just so on repeat with. So it's knowing where to get that enthusiasm running. So at the end of the day, the wiser you become, the calmer you become, and the less you look enthusiastic around life. You're less enthusiastic in lots of ways. You can be enthusiastic for other people, but the wise person is calm and still. So it sort of wanes and drops away as you become more able. I remember the first time I did something in spirituality, and in 2003, 2004, it was amazing. Everything, I was just like, oh my God, there's this and this and this, and now I've sort of done a lot of the things now. So I love it when I see someone jumping into something brand new. I'm like, oh, you're at that stage, right? For me, I don't have that, in quotes, stage so much with the development work that I'm sharing, because I'm sharing it. My enthusiasm comes through teaching and helping people grow through the work that I do. So it changes over time. So if you want something, in quotes, to stay the same, then you've got a problem. So it's like, Philia, you're getting married next year.
I know, right?
And so you're in the relationship game where your relationship is fairly young still, and so there's lots of stuff that you're learning in the relationship about each other and those sorts of things. So how do you keep the enthusiasm in that relationship? It does wane over time, and there becomes a comfort level. So you've got to learn to grow with each other to keep that enthusiasm and that connection in the relationship and keep things moving in the way that you would like it to be. Because look, at the end of the day, we get used to each other.
Absolutely. And that can really easily happen. I find, like, in the past I've definitely experienced that, and after like much shorter times as well. And this one, in this relationship, not yet. I guess it's also because we're just like constantly figuring stuff out and working on ourselves and with each other, and then getting to know ourselves better, and then getting to know each other better. So that's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And look, the more that you do development work in a really healthy way, you can get enthusiastic about it. It's the repetition that creates the waning, that it's the thing that gets you the life that you want as well. So the big problem with enthusiastic people is commitment. But if you've got commitment running with enthusiasm, you're going to win every time. So there's a guy that I know, his name's Taki, right? And he helps people build their businesses to 7 figures. Now, he's probably one of the most enthusiastic people you'll ever meet, and he loves helping people win and earn money, and he's really, really good at it. And the thing around his enthusiasm, I don't know how he goes for 3 days, right? He's really high octane sort of level, and he's been doing this for a really, really long time and helping people, and he said, I'm never going to stop doing this. So that's the sort of enthusiasm that I like to see in people. When you see someone who's in their niche, doing what they love, helping people grow their businesses, and they're loving helping people win. And for me, I love helping people liberate, and that is what creates my enthusiasm. So you've got to find the thing that's going to actually keep you going, which is very, very similar, the same. So for people who need to do different things, that's called addiction. Okay, so you've got to find the thing that's actually going to keep you enthused, that you don't have to chop and change all the time. Does that make sense?
Oh, so much. And if you have like so many different things that you want to do and get something new all the time, I feel like you just get overwhelmed after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you give everything up again.
Yeah, that's right.
After
I mean,
just doing it for a short period of time.
I look at our list that we've got today, which is overwhelming, all the things that we've got to do.
Yeah.
There's never a dull moment with work that we've got to do in the academy. They're all pointing at the same direction. You know, they've got a direction where they're all heading. So it's just facets of the stuff that we've got to do. And we've got some things that we don't like to do, isn't there?
Yeah.
In there. And that's what's really, really important to understand, guys, is that once you start finding your own enthusiasm for life, and you get what is going to make you tick, then you get to diversify within that area. And that's what's beautiful around enthusiasm. Like, I was a healer for so long, and basically, you know what a healer does? They sit on their butt, they put their hands on people, they don't move. So imagine how boring that could be unless you were focusing on different ways in which you could heal, different ways in which you could approach, different ways of understanding people. Right, which is what I did for years and years and years. So, and that's what the academy was built off, learning how to help people grow.
Yeah, and if you hadn't done that, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
No, that's right. And so I did something that a lot of people wouldn't have the commitment to do, because very few people have the number of hours under their belts that I have. They could have the number of years, but the sheer number of hours of working with people individually. I'm not talking about a chiropractor where you jump in and snap a back in 10 minutes. We're talking about psychology, deep psychology of people, and working out where it is, what they are and what they're doing, you know. And so it's a challenge, you know, to learn to keep that commitment and have that enthusiasm going when you're doing pretty much the same thing over and over again.
Absolutely.
I think for me, where I lost my enthusiasm was I was getting a little bit bored as a healer. So I decided to teach and share rather than be the person who was going to help people feel better on my table.
So you kind of just changed. You're still in the same kind of industry, but you're just doing it differently. That's
right. So I diversified and went into the facilitation and you know, helping people mentor. So, you know, understanding how all the concepts work and all of that sort of thing, which keeps me going. And I like creating new things. So people who are really highly creative, they need the enthusiasm to actually follow through and get things done. Otherwise, we just talk about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And how, like, say if somebody is not really enthusiastic about anything anymore, feels kind of just like, you know, what's it called, Groundhog Day type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, what's some kind of advice that you can give them?
Well, look, for people who are living that Groundhog Day, if you're living that day, like a lot of people that we like having in our academy are people who are doing that job 9 to 5 and they don't really like what they're doing. If you're in that, you've got to find something that's actually going to make you tick, because the last thing you want to do is live a life of regret, thinking there's nothing other than what I can do, and the fear of actually moving into a new industry or a new way quite often stops us and we don't know how to get anywhere. So I think it's coming down to figuring out, you know, how you can educate yourself to move into another direction. Because if that enthusiasm for life has waned because you're not feeling like you're hitting your purpose, then you need to get some help around finding your purpose, you know, and doing what is going to actually make you feel like you're not working during the day. So you know, a lot of the things that I do, I don't feel like I'm really working. I'm just doing what I do. And it feels lovely to be able to go to a place which I choose, and I get to today. You know, I'm leaving at 2:30 today to pick up my kids and hang out with them for the afternoon, because I've created an environment where I can do that. And I think it's really important that you find something that you're going to be enthusiastic about, that's beyond a partner, beyond your recreation. It's got to be purpose. And that's what we're here all looking for. And this is why we get hit over the head with a sledgehammer if we're not actually trying to find out who we are, what we are, and why we're here.
And then otherwise you'll just live that life, and at the end then you feel like, oh, what was that really for, right? So,
exactly. A lot of people get to a certain age and they regret decisions that they could have made, and then they make the even worse decision. It's too late for me. That's even worse, because then I look at like people sort of start thinking that way when they hit their 60s. And imagine if you live to your 80, 85, 25 years of thinking it's too late for me.
You might even live until you're like 100 years old. That's not so unlikely today anymore.
Yeah, that's right. So imagine that, just going, oh, it's too late for me now. I don't have anything to offer. So you've got to know, you've got to think about what it is that's going to make you tick, and don't go that. The worst thing, a number of people that I've spoken to, how's your day going? Oh, it's Friday, looking forward to only a couple more hours. And I'm like, wow, I haven't thought that way for a very, very long time. And Wednesday, oh, thank God it's the middle of the week. I've only got a couple more days to go. They call it, I don't know if you're watching this in other countries, they call that hump day in Australia. So it's the middle of the week. So people who are dealing with hump day, which means they've basically got a hump on their back, they're not happy. They have no enthusiasm for life, and they're just looking, and Monday-itis.
Oh, it's Monday.
And Monday's our day where we look at where we're up to, what we need to do, and what we're going to do for the week. And it's looking at our list and going, oh my God, and then we just go through the list and figure out how we can get everything that we want to get done. And
sometimes it takes more than a week. And
so like we've got months worth of work up on our board right now. And it's going to take some good time to get all the work done that we want to get done, and that's the beauty of doing something brand new.
And what about the over-enthusiastic people? So the opposite.
Well, over-enthusiastic people need to have a look at what it is that they're doing. I think that can be an imbalance as well. Like you've got to have a really good balance of enthusiasm in your life. So people who are potentially over-enthusiastic might be running an addiction for what they're doing, or they're disguising how they really feel, and they're putting on a show. And I've seen that a lot of the time. Because I was a therapist for a long time, I'd have over-enthusiastic people coming to see me, and I'd be like, okay. And they're pretty busted. People, oh, I heard about you from so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, what are you doing here for? I just want to have the experience that person was having. And then I find out that they're running some not enthusiasm, devastation in their life. So make sure if you're overly enthusiastic for things that you like and do, just check in and make sure that you're not disguising that as a way to hide your stuff from the world and from yourself.
That's a really good advice as well. Well, thank you for this conversation today. That was really insightful.
Absolute pleasure. And look, if you liked what we put to the table today, I'd love you to like and share it. Our website, if you wanted to see this podcast, it's www.wellnessbreakthroughacademypodcast.com. And the more likes and shares, the more people get to see or hear this podcast. So I'd really appreciate it if you could do that for us. All right, have an awesome day or night wherever you are.
See you next time.
And thanks, Feely.
Thank you.